Hi, Mike Delisio from Solo Mode Games. I've got some pretty important news to let everybody know. I was recently sent a package from Raxxon Pharmaceuticals. Within this package contains an evacuation kit. This evacuation kit is to help us in these trying times. Raxxon Pharmaceuticals wants to make it clear that they have our best interest at heart. And these evacuation kits are a way to show that goodwill. I'm very thankful to Raxxon Pharmaceuticals for the evacuation kit and for the simulation contained within the box. I'm hopeful that by filming this simulation, that more people can get the important news out there for the rest of humanity. Please take the time, look at this simulation, take notes if you need to, and put this knowledge to good use for the sake of all humanity. Let's take a look. Okay, here we have the setup for a solitaire evacuation simulation, courtesy of our friends at Raxxon Pharmaceutical. I would like to again just take the time to thank Raxxon for giving us the opportunity to prepare for these trying times. One of the things that is helpful is that although in a time like this you would prepare ideally with the aid of others, Raxxon knows that there may be a time where you're on your own and you're having to coordinate in a single solitary mode, and so they have included that in this simulation experience. The differences between the solitaire version and the multiplayer version of this simulation are very small. Generally speaking, each day you're going to be coordinating with the use of one of the characters. The rounds are days, and so for each day you can choose either the same character that you are using, or you can use any of the others that are available to you as well. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Doctor, Olivia Brown, and I'm doing an introductory level simulation. I'd like to try to be as successful as possible, or at least take every opportunity to be successful. And so I'm going to explain as we go how this works, but it's pretty simple. You've got particular player actions that you can take. Every player has the same introductory skill, which is to investigate, which means basically you can flip over any one of these population cards. You'll have healthy citizens, you'll have infected citizens. And what you're going to try to do is manipulate the citizens in this crowd to get them into quarantine areas, preferably contained quarantine. But your ultimate goal is to get 20 survivors in the introductory experience, 20 survivors into the evacuation pile. And you'll do that through these player powers. You've got different players with different abilities. You've got the Doctor, who I'm starting with. You've got a mayor. You've got a lieutenant in the army. You've got a journalist, a firefighter, and a disease control official. And they all, as I said, have this investigate power, but they also have variations of other powers. They all have a version of an evacuation protocol. They have some type of medicinal attack, they don't all have the medicinal attack. They'll all have certain powers that will allow them to evacuate or kill, I shouldn't say evacuate, kill infected survivors. You've got quarantine, a special player power which will depend on whoever is in control, and then some type of crowd control. The way it works is that to do a particular action, you're going to take an action marker and you're going to place it on the corresponding area that you choose, always on the leftmost side, if there are choices, okay? And then you'll take that action. Then the next turn, you have to evaluate from top to bottom, left to right, all of the effects before you can take another turn. So for example, this symbol here, the exclamation mark, means to draw a Raxxon card. So if I had taken this evacuation action, I would have placed a action marker there. Then before I can do anything else, including the investigate action, I would have to draw a Raxxon card, and that would be for every turn. The other thing I could do is pass, which is to clear all of the action markers off. Now, the other difference in the solitaire version of this module is that to get to the end of day, you pass twice. In the regular multiplayer version, when every player has passed once, then the end of day will occur. So I'm just going to go ahead and start playing, and I think you're going to get a pretty good idea of how things go. Rather than me giving a thorough explanation of how it works, seeing how it works I think is going to make the most sense. So the first thing I'm going to do is investigate. It does not require me to place an action marker, so I'm going to begin taking a look at the crowd and seeing what we have to work with here. All right, here we've got a hostile, healthy survivor. Okay, they're healthy, that's denoted by this heart. When you flip over a card, when you reveal a crowd member, you have to look at the bottom. When you see that eye symbol, you're going to see if there are numbers of those same individuals in the crowd. So in this case, if there were 2 hostile members in the crowd, I would have to take this action, which is to flip over another card. If there were 4, that means end of round immediately. Okay? So I've taken my first action. Since I have not had to place any markers, I'm going to take another action. I'm going to investigate again. Here we've got a chaotic infected. Okay, I evaluate the bottom. 1 was revealed. I have to add a card to the row. If 2 get revealed, you add 2, 3, end of the round. All right, so I take 1 from the population draw pile and I add it. It has to be as adjacent as it can be, which in this case could be just about anywhere. All right, I'm going to give myself a little more room here because I'll be adding cards. I'll put the volatile crowd member there. Okay, I'm going to investigate again. Here I've got another hostile. There are now 2 in the crowd, so I need to reveal another card. Okay, here I've got an innocent, healthy member. This says that if he is killed in any way for any reason, that you'll have to draw a Raxxon card. So now I have 3 healthy survivors. I would like to get them into the evacuation pile. All right, and so what I'm going to do now is choose this evacuation action. Choose a row or column in the crowd with all cards face up and healthy and move those cards to the evacuation pile. I now have a column of face up and healthy crowd members, so I'm going to take those and place them into the evacuation pile. Okay, I'm going to investigate again. All right, now I have uncovered my second chaotic, which means that I now have to add 2 cards to the crowd. This is most adjacent because there are 2 cards it's adjacent to, and I'll have to add another one here. Okay, now one thing I should mention is I mentioned how you can win. You can win this simulation. You can be successful in this simulation by getting 20 healthy crowd members to the evacuation pile. You can be unsuccessful by either running out of the infection supply deck. That is triggered on this symbol. Hopefully that's going to come in. Yes. When you see that symbol, you move 1 member from your population, from your infection supply into the population discard pile. If there's ever a time you have to do that and you cannot, the game ends. If the Raxxon marker gets up to 8, that is also a way that you can end in a defeat or an unsuccessful simulation, and that's it. Or you could be successful. All right. Yes. So I think what I'm going to do now is, if I choose to keep going, which I'm going to, I have to draw a Raxxon card because I have a marker here. I'm going to do a skilled quarantine where I can move 3 face-up infected cards from the crowd to the contained quarantine pile. Okay? That question mark means that I could move an additional card if I wanted to draw a Raxxon card, which I do not want to do. So here I go, I'm going to draw a Raxxon card. The way these work is you read the card, and at the very top there's going to be a trigger. Okay? In this case, it's saying if Raxxon's power is 2. Well, Raxxon's power is not 2, it's at 0, so I'm not going to even read it. I'm going to put it into the untriggered Raxxon pile. Okay? So now I've taken care of that. I'm going to go ahead and do a skilled quarantine, which is going to be moving 3 face-up infected cards from the crowd and or uncontained quarantine pile to the contained quarantine pile. Those go there. All right, now, do I choose to continue to go? If I choose to continue to go, I have to take a Raxxon card, add another member to the crowd, and another Raxxon card. I think at this point I'm going to pass. I'm going to remove those action markers. Now, again, in the multiplayer simulation, I would be doing the end of day phase, but we're not at that point right now because it's the single player experience. So what I'm going to do is continue on with this turn. All right, I'm going to investigate. Let me scoot these down just a little bit. All right, let's investigate. I've got a volatile infected member. If 2 of those show up, I have to take an infected and put it into the population discard pile. I'm going to investigate again. I've got a hostile member. Okay. I'm going to turn over this row and hope that I can get another healthy. I did. I got another hostile, which means I do have to flip one over. I'm going to choose to flip this one over. If it's healthy, I'm going to evacuate all 3. It is. Okay, so I have 3 healthy right here. So what I'm going to do now is my evacuation, choose a row or column with all cards face up and healthy and move them to the evacuation pile. Okay? So that is done. Now at this point, I think it's in my best interest to pass. Okay, and go to the end of day. So I'm going to clear that off, and now we go to the end of day mode. And when that happens, we do the following steps in order. We flip over all of the remaining face down cards, okay? And we check the infection. The infection here is going to spread. We count the total number of infected cards and in the uncontained quarantine and trigger the infection supply that many times. Well, in our case, we have 2. There are none in the uncontained quarantine, all right? So we move 2 cards. There's always a maximum of 4. Even if I had 6 or 7 infected in the crowd, I would only ever be moving 4. So I'm going to take 2 and move them face up from the infection supply into the population discard pile. Okay? Then I move all these cards from the crowd, and if there were any in uncontained quarantine, into the population discard pile. All right. And then we shuffle these into the population draw pile. I'm going to do that. All right. Now the crowd that's in the contained quarantine is going to get shifted to the uncontained quarantine. And then we refill the crowd. So that's the day and the night phase, and we're going to continue doing this until we either are successful in our evacuation simulation or unsuccessful. Now at this point I could choose a different character to play as, and let's do that just to get as much experience as possible. Let's go ahead and go with the firefighter. Gabriel Diaz will be the character we play with this day. All right. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is investigate. We've got a celebrity, a healthy survivor. If this celebrity were to die, we would add another card to the crowd and reveal one. I'm going to investigate again. Here we've got an unhealthy, we've got an infected carrier. 2 of those come out, we draw a Raxxon card. 3 come out, end of round. Going to investigate again. We're not looking good here. We've got an infected carrier, a volatile. I'm going to investigate. Okay, chaotic. We're going to have to add one to the crowd, unfortunately. This is not starting off the best here. I'm going to investigate again. Chaotic. We now have 2 chaotic. We have to add 2. 1 more chaotic and it's end of round. So I need to deal with those chaotic. Okay, so I'm going to choose my quarantine action. Move up to 2 face-up infected cards from the crowd and or the uncontained quarantine pile to the contained quarantine pile. And then I can additionally move an extra card by drawing a Raxxon card. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and quarantine these 2 chaotics because I don't want the end of round. And I will draw a Raxxon card to place the volatile in there as well. Let me see if this is triggering. This will not trigger, so it goes into the untriggered Raxxon pile. Okay, now to take another turn, I have to add a card and take a Raxxon card. I'm going to do that. I have 3 places I can add a card. I can add one here, here, and here. That's where they've got the most adjacency. I'll go ahead and add it here. And then I will take a Raxxon card, see if it triggers. It does not trigger. I've kind of lucked out there. All right. Let's investigate. I'm going to be adding every time. So I'm almost wondering, do I want to move cards from the uncontained back into quarantine? There's a lot of cards out here. I'm going to go ahead and investigate. I've got a chaotic, so I'm adding another card to the crowd. This has not been a great round for me. All right, so I add a card. And I take a Raxxon card. This card always triggers. Raxxon's propaganda. The radio interview disgusts you. Raxxon's Zomotroxin drug didn't cause this catastrophe. If only more people were on Zomotroxin, we could have overcome this. Shuffle the untriggered Raxxon pile into the Raxxon draw pile. Then move cards from the contained quarantine to the uncontained quarantine according to the player count. So I'm going to have to move 1 card from contained to uncontained. This goes up 1. This goes into the triggered pile. These untriggered cards get shuffled back into the Raxxon pile. This is not good. All right, I have to move 1 from contained to uncontained. We'll go ahead and move a chaotic. Well, yeah, we'll move a chaotic. All right. Wow, this has been rough. This has been really rough. I'm going to go ahead and clear off because I don't want to have to do those actions every time. Okay, so now I've got 1 more clear round. So let's start investigating and hope we don't turn over a bunch more chaotics or carriers. We've got a hostile. Okay. He is healthy. I'm going to investigate again. We've got a volatile. Not terrific. I'm going to investigate again. And there's another volatile. So that means that I've got to move 1 from the infection supply into the population discard pile. Not terrific. 1 more and it's end of round, and I will not have done anything positive in this turn. Okay. Well, this is rough. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and take a targeted evacuation. This says to move a healthy, face-up healthy card and any adjacent face-up healthy cards to the evacuation pile. So I will take both of these, put them into the evac pile. Now I only have to add a card to take another turn, so I will do that. I'll add a card here, and I'm going to turn here. I got an innocent. That's good. I have to add a card to take another turn. I got a familiar. That's good. I'm going to take another targeted evacuation, which is to move a face-up healthy card and any adjacent face-up healthy cards to the evacuation pile. There we go. So right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Halfway. I need to get 20. I would have to add 3 cards to take another turn, and so I've already got 4 showing. And yeah, this is going to be rough. I think what I'm going to do is add, I've already got 4 that I'm going to be adding. So I'm going to add 3 cards, because I have to add 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to quarantine. Move 2 face-up infected cards from the crowd and or the uncontained quarantine pile. So I'm going to move 2 from the uncontained quarantine pile back into the quarantine pile, contained quarantine pile, just to kind of save myself a little bit of time there. And then I'm going to pass. So we go to the end of round. All right. End of round. I know that there are going to be 4. There are already 4 showing, so we're going to take 4 from the infection supply. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I can turn these over, but it's immaterial because there's not going to be more than 4. Look at that. Boy, all of these healthy crowd members that were just left there. I found nothing but the infected survivors, it seems. All right. These are going to go back into the population draw pile, along with the uncontained quarantine. They're going to get shuffled back in. These are going to get shifted over. All right, we're going to start a new day. I'm going to get a different character. Why not? We'll do KD James, the disease control specialist. Hopefully that's going to, there we go. Okay. Things are not looking terribly good here. We are down to 2 in our infection supply. So really, this is where we're going to have to really start getting healthy people into the evacuation pile. Okay, going to investigate. We've got a carrier here. Going to investigate. We've got another carrier, which means we draw a Raxxon card. Not a good draw for me. This will not trigger. Going to investigate. If one more carrier comes up, that's the end of the round immediately, which at this point would honestly mean the end of the game. So I'm going to do the steady quarantine, move up to 3 face-up infected cards from the crowd and or the uncontained quarantine pile to the contained quarantine pile. I'm going to get them in here because one more carrier and the game would end. Now I have to add a card and do a Raxxon card. No, this does not trigger. All right. Investigation, we've got a hostile. We've got a carrier, unfortunately. Oh, I should have added and taken a discard, and taken a Raxxon card. Sorry, add one there, take a Raxxon card. Okay, that would not have triggered. Okay, now I get to do my turn. I'll investigate. Got a chaotic, so I've got to add. Boy, I am really just having a tremendously bad run of luck here. Okay, boy. Okay, I'll add a card. I'll take a Raxxon card. This is not looking good. Untriggered. I have looked out there, I will say that. Okay, so 2 hostile. I have to flip over another. A familiar. Okay, I'm finally getting a little bit of luck here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pass so that I can clear that off. Now I'm going to investigate, really going to hope that this is a healthy citizen. It is. Fantastic. Okay, now I'm going to evacuate. Choose a column, a row or column. All cards face up and healthy, move them to the evacuation pile. Okay, that's good. Now I have to draw a Raxxon card for every turn. This one is going to trigger. Oh, no, it's not. Not untriggered. Okay. We've got 2 chaotic, so we're going to add 2. Oh, let me shuffle that. Sorry, I was not supposed to be face up. Okay. Raxxon card. Not going to trigger. Investigate. Got a hostile. Raxxon card. This card will trigger. The Raxxon representatives don't take well to your criticism. You don't like the way we do things? That's fine. Maybe we should just shut this place down tomorrow and let this virus spread unhindered. We'll let you explain to everyone how it's so much better that way. All right? We're going to be moving 1 card from the contained to the uncontained, shuffling the untriggered back into the triggered pile. All right. One of these is going to go in there. These are going to get shuffled back in. And the Raxxon moves up 1. Okay. Investigate. I could do a quarantine, but then I'd be drawing 2 Raxxon cards every turn. But if I get another chaotic, it's the end of the game. I think I need to do that. I need to do the quarantine. Let's get these out of the crowd for now. Put them into the contained quarantine pile. Now I have to do a Raxxon card. This is not going to trigger. I have to add a card. That will have to go here. And I have to do another Raxxon card. This will not trigger. And now I can do an investigate. It's not the one I wanted to see. Raxxon card. That does not trigger. Add. Let's add one here. And another Raxxon card. This card will trigger. So as not to spoil these, I'm not going to read everything. Basically, I'm doing the same thing. I'm moving a card from contained to uncontained, and I'm moving up the Raxxon meter here. Alright, this is not looking good. I have a feeling I know where this is headed. I'm going to go ahead and investigate. I do have a susceptible here, that's good. Raxxon card. This does not trigger. Add a card, has to go here. Raxxon card again. Not going to trigger. Going to hope for a healthy crowd member here. Did not get one. All right, I just have to keep going because the game will. I could quarantine these and hope these are all healthy, but this will trigger. I've got an option here. In the quarantine facility, you peruse the patient's medical charts. Closer scrutiny reveals that some records have been altered. hiding that some patients received radical experimental treatment. I have two options. One, better take time to fix this. Move a number of cards equal to the player count from contained to uncontained. So I'd move one from there to there. Or you don't have time to worry about this. Heck, they're all infected, so what difference does it make now who's getting... Okay, let's go ahead and investigate here. Got a chaotic, so we have to add. Okay, that's a carrier, so we draw a Raxxon card. Folks, this is not looking good. This does not trigger. I have to take a Raxxon card. This card will trigger. I'm going to move up, add one from... I'm not going to read all of these because I don't want to spoil it all for you. Take one from contained to uncontained. That triggered. I shuffle, I believe. Yep. That was my first Raxxon card, so I'm going to have to add a card and do it again. Not looking good. Another Raxxon. This will not trigger. Okay. Boy, I'm not seeing how this is gonna work. Let's go ahead and investigate here. We've got a familiar. Okay. Here we go. This does not trigger. Add a card. Not going to be able to add any more cards. And then we trigger. Yes, this will trigger. Oops, 5. Mom, is that you? Sweetie, you've got to get me out of here, honey. You know I'm not one of them. Don't turn your back on your own mother. You've got two options. One, here, hurry, get out of here. You help her escape. Move a carrier card from quarantine to the population discard pile. Or, sorry Mom, but it's for your own good. Raxxon will help. Place this on the untriggered Raxxon pile instead of the triggered. And move up the marker. Okay. Wow. All right. So what I can do now is take the crowd control, swap the position of any two cards. I'm going to swap this with this Raxxon card. It's going to trigger. We're going to move that up. We're one away. We move one from contained to uncontained. Shuffle these back in. We cannot add a card, so we're just going to read another Raxxon card. Okay, that will not trigger. We're going to have to flip a card, so I'm hoping that this is not a carrier because that will end the round. It's volatile, so we do have to move an infection to the population discard pile, and now I'm going to do my evacuation. Move these to the evacuation pile. Unless this is at 20, we're in a whole lot of hurt, and I don't think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I've somehow got to get 3 more into the evacuation pile, and it has to be on this turn. So I draw a Raxxon. This will not trigger. I have to move an infection. This is the last, yeah, this, I don't think, unless I can somehow do it on this turn, which I don't see happening, the game's going to end. But let's just go through the motions here. Is this in here? I have to check something in the triggered pile. It is not. This is not going to trigger. And then I have to flip one. And then I'm going to flip one anyway. And I can't evacuate them anyway. So even if I wanted to, I'd be pretty much out of luck because I cannot evacuate any more cards, any more crowd members. So that's going to really be the end game here because I can't get any more. Both of my evacuation actions have been taken. So I'm pretty much out of luck. All right, well, we got, let's see, what, 17? We got 17 out of the 20 that was needed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's 19 and there, well, that would have been nice. There was 20 all nicely in a row. They could have all been evac'd out, but no such luck. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think you can see how dire the consequences are and how we have Raxxon to thank for giving us the opportunity to prepare for these trying times. And hopefully by doing some of these simulations, we can do better in the real event that is imminent. I thank you for your time. I hope that this was helpful for you, and I know Raxxon is hopeful that we can take control of this very, very volatile situation. Thank you so much, and have a healthy day.